Will my dog always need to wear an electronic collar? That's a yes or no question. I do get some cases where they're so aggressive, or they took their aggression so far that I will tell my clients, like, hey, with this dog, even after the training and we get the dog where we want them and everything's good, I recommend that the dog, whenever around either people or dogs, whatever it is that it's aggressive towards, you always have the electronic collar on the dog, because it's just the aggression is so severe that we want to make sure that we always have that control, right? So we may not need to use it, but just the presence of the collar itself on the dog puts them in a different mind state. In regards to obedience, it really depends. If you're going to have your dog off leash anywhere, I always tell people, make sure you have your electronic collar on the dog, because you always want to make sure you have a means of controlling them, right? Because there's a lot of variables out there that we can't account for. Other people that have their dogs off leash that may or may not be friendly. Fireworks, like I've had people that had their dogs loose, like they were playing fetch with their dog with a ball or whatever, and then someone lit a firework randomly out of nowhere, and they did not know that their dog was afraid of fireworks, and they take off. So because of electronic collar, they had a means of getting their dog back. If they didn't, they would have to chase the dog down, or could have ran into the street and got hit by a car. So the electronic collar is simply, for me, a safety belt. We all know how to drive. I know how to drive. Everybody on the road knows how to drive. However, there's a lot of variables we can't account for. We have weather, hydroplaning if it's raining. If you live in places like Chicago, ice on the road and things like that, or just like other drivers that aren't responsible and just weave through traffic. We wear a safety belt because it's a precaution. Same thing for the electronic collar. I know if at any point, if I'm going to take my dog off leash, I want to have it, or if I'm going to be out for any time that's more than like 5 or 10 minutes, or that's more than like a potty break. If you're just running out your dog to go pee or poop, whatever, that's fine. However, if you're going to be out for an extensive walk or anything like that, you want to make sure you always have your electronic collar on for best performance. Because whether or not you're using positive or negative for your dog's training, once the motivator is gone, the dog's performance is always going to dip. That's completely natural. Just like as a person, if I'm working and all of a sudden they're like, hey, we're lowering your pay, I'm not going to work as hard. So, will your dog need to wear the electronic collar for the rest of its life? It just depends. When I have dogs that have problems in the house, like they counter surf, or they do things like pee on stuff, and they're wearing the electronic collar within the home, that goes away faster because you're able to address those issues regularly. Because the dog's running throughout the day. Whereas when you're going outside, the dog will only be wearing it then. So collar definitely goes away at some point inside, unless we're dealing with like really severe behavior problems. Then that's a different scenario. But outside, even my dogs, they've been off leash trained for like 4 years now. If I'm going to be outside for any substantial period of time, going for a walk, whatever, they do wear their collars. I press the button maybe once in a blue moon, but I want to know that I always have that control should something happen.